Hello. Good afternoon to the people. Hope everyone's doing good. Yeah, we are today trying to improve the frame rate. I'll fill everyone in. What I managed to get done yesterday, which is pretty good. Got a couple of things to talk about. Not many. It's not like I had a massive breakthrough. But yeah, today I'm going to be trying to tackle the frame rate. Just make sure we're actually live. Yes. Hello, user. Hi, bro. How you doing? Yeah. We're going to be trying to tackle the physics today, I think. So, for those who weren't here yesterday, I'll just fill everyone in. We managed to synchronize the frame properly, which is great. Just get the chat up. That's why I'm taking a minute. Yeah, I'm good. I'm just pretty tired, user. So hopefully I'll be able to think straight when I'm actually coding today. Yes, we have a physics engine that we're going to attack today. Yeah, I haven't written this one. I've written a physics engine in the past, and I know to leave that to other people. Otherwise, I'll be here forever trying to implement this. We did. So what I did after the stream, we got the frame running. We stopped the game engine from crashing. I pushed that. Fixed an issue on Linux, so now it runs again on Linux. That didn't take too long at all, so that's why we're in Windows again. I fixed a issue with the dynamic rendering. Well, a performance issue. When it comes to clearing the depth buffer, we shouldn't be clearing the depth buffer every frame in the dynamic rendering. Hey, Kalia, how you doing? Hope everyone's having a good day, by the way. I am a little tired, so we'll see how we get on. But yeah, it's so we got that done. I then couldn't sleep very well. Just kept getting woken up by random stuff. So I did what I could. Today I have done a little bit of work before the stream. I have been messing around with the physics today. And I managed to improve the frame rate at a cost. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like fun. Yeah, that's good. Should be fun today. Yeah, you sit back and enjoy. Hopefully you have a good good time watching me. Yeah, so I'll explain what I did. It's a pretty straightforward fix, to be honest. Well, change. There are layers when it comes to this physics engine. There are moving layers and non-moving layers, and things can take part in the simulation if they are not moving and moving. If you put something as not moving, it simplifies the physics, and you end up getting things actually simulate a lot faster because there's less work for the things to be done. Even if you put static objects on the moving layer, the static and the not moving and moving are different. So I think it has to anticipate the fact that you might decide at some point as the programmer to make a static object that was formerly static to move. If you put it on the non-moving layer, it doesn't move at all. So we got a frame rate increase because of that, but at a cost. So we're still not very fast, but I'll show you the frame rate improvement. And I'm actually looking at the milliseconds. All graphics programmers should look at this. So when this is my test, right? So we're now running at 39 milliseconds. You may think, oh, that's great. That's an improvement from the 52 that we were running yesterday at in the same simulation. The frame rate's up to 25-ish, I guess. But yeah, it's more important that you look at the milliseconds. That's actually a better metric. But I'm stalling because this is, if I put this back on the collision geometry, you shall see how, sorry about the jitteriness, but you can see the rocks and the spheres like are updating out of sync. And even if I turn them off, like turn off the spheres and then like do a rotation, you can see there is some jitteriness. Yeah, that actually makes me like a tiny bit motion sick, to be honest, looking at this. So it is not good, and that's because they're on the not moving layer. Now I think this is correct. If I want to have static geometry that really doesn't move, that it should be on the non-moving layer. So this, I think, is a correct implementation. And I think this is literally just because of the update loop. So we're going to start testing that today. The thing, I think, I literally think it's like the amount of entities that we're updating. So if how we're going to test this initially is just to open up the scene and just render less objects and just see if the jitteriness is better or worse. And by less, I mean like we're going to go way, way, way less. So I'm going to render three objects in the scene. So let's do 10, so we can at least see some other rocks in the scene. Now the frame rate will obviously go so much better. So yeah, it's the same issues as we've had recently. Okay, so what I'm really interested in is the rocks. Yeah. If I do this, like it's really obvious. Like they're updating correctly. I think what's happening, honestly, is the fact that the GPU is so busy doing nothing that when I actually update the buffers in the buffer device addresses, the actual, it takes so long for everything to get updated that, you know, we're like a frame ahead all of a sudden. So the physics engine is running at 60 FPS, 60 frames per second, a 60th of a second, I should say. And if we're running slower, if we're rendering, and it's taking longer to run 60th of a second in our render loop, the position updates between these two loops for two different types of entities. One's the rocks, one's the ducks that you see flying around. These are so far. Well, sorry. This is the collision geometry. That's wrong. That's the collision geometry. That's the spheres, and that's the that's the regular geometry. That's just like the actual scene. These take so long that the difference between them actually changes, and I think it also changes within the loops themselves. So let's just say we have like 4,000 to go through. By the time we get to like 3,000, like the data is like ahead of what the originals ones were. So that's what I think is happening. It's literally, I think it's a frame rate issue. Because if I bring back the scene to 4,404, which is what we had before, and I total entities, which was just 4,444. Oops, not that many. And I move to release. So this is debug build, and I turn off all the error checking and stuff. So this is just the validation layers, the printing, and the checking, and then I need to turn off the memory tracing, which is in the which is over here, which, yeah, enum stuff. So this is just disabling things. If I compile that, am I cold? Not too cold. Well, I may have may sound like I've got a bit of a cold. I feel a bit more nasally today, I have to admit. Yeah, I'm sniffing a bit now. No, you're pointing that out. I always get like this though when I'm tired though. So this is like the regular scene. It moves smoothly, but there is still a little jitteriness, as you can see there on this one. So it like improves as we go on with time. Yeah. Yeah. Hot tea with lemon. I've never actually tried that. So this is why I'm thinking, right, okay, so this is running at 60 FPS, but the loop takes so long to get through that it actually breaks what the physics represents. Yeah, so I apologize if I'm a bit sniffly today. I don't know if anyone else gets that, but yeah, I get that when I get tired. It's actually worse now I'm on stream because the GPU is having to do the streaming. So actually the frame rate is actually lower than it would be if I was not streaming. And we can probably prove that. That was this at... So what's the frame rate? Yeah, this is significantly less. This was at around 450 when I'm not streaming. Now it's like basically half. Basically because it takes like another millisecond to render. And that's why you shouldn't really look at frames. But so around this speed, you can see everything's kind of breaking. But I think it's correct. I reviewed some of the documentation. It looks like you're supposed to put static stuff that's not going to move on the debug layer. Sorry, on the not moving layer. So yeah, it's going to be one of these debugging sessions once again. I think for the most part I've got everything correct when it comes to dynamic rendering, but I'm still going to make sure I'm going to get that right. So there's a couple of things. It's the loops, it's the a lot of things. I was thinking just before I streamed as well, sorry to so much preamble, but I want to update everyone to make sure they're on the same page. That to actually make this game, I think I'm going to have to do a lot more work with the actual core of the engine. I thought I could get away with the way things are right now, but these loops are so bad for rendering. Like, they're really, really bad. Like, I've even tried to like stop things being updated if they're not dynamic, but it still doesn't make a difference. Yeah, it's been a bit of a battle to try and get this to work. I'm gonna leave that out for now. That I think at some point before I even release this game, even though it's gonna be small, I'm gonna have to get rid of these draw indexed loops and start using indirect draw calls, which means I'm gonna have to get better at synchronization and barriers and stuff like that. I don't know when I was gonna do that. I was gonna do that at some point, but I didn't know when. But now here we are. So yeah, it's one of them. It's what can you do? The simulation gets unstable the slower the frame rate gets. Well, the more entities we have, I think. Yes, I did fix the frame in flight. Stat fix. Hopefully you're having a good day. Good luck, mate. I have a headache, so I won't be sticking around, I think. No problem. No problem at all. Yeah, so I'm just going to be a bit of trial and error today in documenting. Yeah, I hope you get better, Ratchet, by the way. Hope your headache goes away. Yeah, because it sucks when you have an annoying headache that won't shift. All right, let's turn back to debug and start doing some dev work. So yeah, we've like I said earlier, we've improved the frame rate, but we're not out the woods yet. It's just the way things are being updated are so slow. I don't know if it's just the buffer device addresses. Or what, but yeah. Let's turn these back on. Like, in theory, we should be running it, like, on my graphics card, like, in debug, like, 1,000 frames per second. Like, that's not something I would be... Yes, 1,000 frames wouldn't be, like, out the ordinary. But this has not scaled with the amount of things I want to draw. It's just degraded terribly. I've improved it for sure, but yeah. Let's try and fix stuff. Physics, update loops, rendering, all that stuff we're going to try and do today. And what do I want to do first? That's the first question. So, and that's the other thing. A lot of the stuff I have tried to improve the frame rate hasn't done anything at all. Like, that's the majority of the things I've left out. Haven't touched the frame rate even a bit. So it's one of them. I've got to figure out. One thing I might try to do. Just looking at it. It's this kind of copy buffer thing. So here we have a uniform buffer object that basically has random access. It's a UBO, so it's a descriptor set or whatever. But when I turn it off, let's just show you. I will have to clear the screen to a different color than black and disable the skybox for a minute. So disabling the skybox basically makes no improvements. So anyway, so if I disable the materials, meaning everything renders black basically. That's why I have to make sure the background isn't black. Where is the... There it is. Like this. Let it build. I've recommented all the macros. So there should be like a black rocks with a blue background. And it's disabled. Oh, okay. So nothing's rendered. That's fine. Wonder why. Anyway, I know it seems silly, but the frame rate won't be infinite like you would assume. It's rendering at close to 30 FPS. Like almost, but like nearly 33 milliseconds. So that is something I might do, because that will just give us like a performance boost. What I want to do is basically, instead of doing it every single loop instance, I want to basically do this, where we copy all the data to a buffer and then do the copy all at once. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work with a UBO, but I think assuming that we have the actual buffer here, I'm not sure. Like, let me puzzle through this a bit, because the tricky part for this is, yo, Shadow, how you doing? Hope you're having a great day, dude. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit. I've got a bit of sniffles. We have the material buffer, which is part of the... So we do a draw call every single... every time there is like a... let me explain. If I get up the... Let's see... Documents... Git... Void... build. It's going to take a second, it won't take too long. It'll just take me a minute to get there. Yeah, let's open up this guy. This should be faster. So like in this model that everyone uses, like there are different amounts of like materials. So like these pillars are different from this tapestry thing, and this ivy, I guess, is different from this pot or whatever, and these pipes. What? You can explore. Alright, okay. I guess Windows has decided to delete this program for some reason. So what I do is I basically have a buffer that transfers the materials to the shader that are going to be used. So there's different materials for like this tapestry versus this pillar versus this plant or whatever. And what I kind of want to do is like copy it all in one go. So, and I think that would be more efficient because I'm not unbinding and binding a piece of memory, copying a tiny little piece of data over, and then, accessing it on the shader and also updating it, which is two different things. So I might try that today. What's the frame rate problem I'm having? So I'll just scroll into our chat. This is the same picture I've shown before, but you see this big gap here. The GPU is doing nothing for like a third for like, it's even worse than this actually. I looked at this earlier. I think I've commented stuff out, but yeah, the GPU is stalling for some reason. So I think it's to do with the loops. Do you know the root problem for what you're trying to solve? I kind of do. Hi Dietry, how you doing? Yeah, hopefully Ratchet feels better for sure. So yeah, we're back at it again. Trying to fix this. So I think I'm just trying to make the loops less heavyweight because there's a lot of stuff going on here, and that would improve the frame rate. I think enough that it would, like, we stabilize things. It's just everything in these loops are just taking so long, and we're CPU bound. So for those who don't know, this is generally suggesting that the GPU is idle, which means it isn't doing anything, and we're stuck on the CPU. We're stuck doing stuff on the CPU, and we're not taking that time to do something on the GPU. Like this should be the whole frame. This here, like where my mouse is going up and down. Yet we have all this every single frame. Now we have improved things, but all we've managed to do, I know it seems silly, is just shrink this. We've only managed to shrink this. The only way I've seen how to shrink this bit, here, I'll show you, is actually reduce the number of things I'm rendering. So, yeah. Hopefully people don't mind me explaining stuff. It is helping me think. I will definitely get onto coding. So what I'm trying to do is, so I'm going to go back to release. People have seen this before, but I will show you the two differences between the two different, what is it called? The GPU engine thing. So you see this is actually smaller than the picture that you can see. That's what I've managed to do recently. I've improved the frame rate by making this smaller. And this has got even worse, this gap. Over time, it's actually, because this has got smaller because I've got better at doing this bit. This gap's got bigger relative to this bit. Which wasn't the plan. But yeah, let me compile for release, and No, I'm not. Oh, yeah, I could do instance drawing, actually. That's a really good point, actually. I could, for this particular situation, the rocks would be perfect for instance rendering. And that would severely reduce the frame rate. Okay. So I'm not, but I shouldn't have to, if that makes sense, D-Tree. It's possible it's a memory problem as well. If that makes sense, like, yeah, I shouldn't have to get the performance. Like, the scene I'm trying to render is not that complicated. Okay, just making sure everything's working. I'm just going to do a GPU trace. Let's get out of there. And I just want to show you the two differences. Now, ignore sometimes OBS and sometimes Windows takes up the GPU while it's idle. So if there's a big red bar at the top, ignore it. Okay, there isn't. Okay, so look, it's even more idle. And if I take this if I go to scene and go to 1111, make sure that runs. So there's obviously like a quarter less things in the frame. Okay. Now if I run this again, starts right. Okay, F11. I open that. So you can see that the ratio between this and this shrink. So it's obviously still very slow, but the less things in the loops, well, that was actually a bit less dramatic than I expected, to be honest. Let me actually reduce it quite a bit. Let me try again. This won't take any long. Won't take that long. Let's do 200, right? Yeah, doing instances for sure will help. So yeah, that's what I think. Was thinking command recording is very intensive on the CPU. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to reduce at the moment, and it's also causing all sorts of horrendous physics bugs. Oh, okay. So let me disable that for a minute. That'll be easy to fix. Just let me. Got some flashing, which I don't want to cause anyone in there who's watching eye pain for no reason. So yeah, that might be a shout actually. Instance rend. If I do instance rendering, it might Okay, but let's just I'll just show you this at least. I'm not exactly sure what I should be doing, if that makes sense. So obviously there's way less stuff, but let's just get everything in frame. F12, open. Okay, that's what I more wanted to see. The less things we're recording, the like this gap gets smaller. Now you would think, well, obviously you're doing less work, but if the frame rate, let me think, if it was to do with like synchronization, if the CPU is being paused the same way every single loop, the ratio between this part of the frame and this part of the frame would be the same. It would just the time would just decrease. But the things, because I'm taking things out of the loop, the ratio is actually getting air quotes back to normal, I guess. Yeah. I think this is my CPU. But yeah, you can see the ratio is improved. Yeah, let's try that first. I actually don't 100% know how to do instance rendering, but I don't think it's that complicated. I think I did it back in 2019. That's the last time I did instance rendering. So we're going to have to look up a bit. I think that's a good way of doing it, because that'll reduce the amount of... for the rocks, at least, we can just instance render them at different positions. And that will reduce the overhead of the loops. Obviously, eventually we're going to have to use indirect draw calls and just get rid of the loops entirely. Okay, so I do think instant rendering is a solution here. I'd say try that first, because the CPU time being spent on recording instead of just building... Yeah, I think you might be right. I think the GPU is waiting for the CPU to feed it. Can anyone... Yeah, pretty much, yeah. That's... Based on this, where we have like a decreased amount of draw calls increases the ratio between the wait and the actual draw. The GPU, when we record stuff to a command buffer, it's like instead of the idea anyway behind a command buffer. Excuse me. The idea behind a command buffer. Sorry, I'm sneezing. Is that you record a bunch of you basically ahead of time tell what the GPU, what the order of things that the GPU needs to do. So clear commands would be the first couple of things, resizing the viewport. Then based on its state, so if the command line, then you would bind a pipeline that you want to use, and then you would just record a bunch of stuff that you want to do just before, and then boom, you would then excuse me, I keep sneezing. So yeah, let's try and do instance rendering. The indexed instance rendering has an instance rendering flag, which is pretty straightforward. So the first thing I'm just going to look up is basically first instance count. So in theory, we want to not instance render the ducks, but instance render the rocks. I'm wondering if do we want to do this every frame? I'm kind of wondering if I can get rid of this and just put it outside the loop. Right, yeah. We're pretty much tied for the fact that this GPU thing. We want to be, let me think. So we have a load of entities that we're going to loop through the scene. Command recording and executing commands that change the state are really expensive. Instancing eliminates both at once. In this specific case, since it's the same model. I wish Ratchet was here to correct me if I'm wrong about anything. Yeah, I mean, if we can reduce the amount of commands that we're going to record to then display, to then do something with, sorry, that's going to help. Due to the fact that, you know, when we set this to 200, the ratio gets better. So I think you're right there. And hopefully it should be an easy win if I can just work out exactly, based on the total number of entities and which one's a rock and which one isn't. Which I can do quite easily. Depends on like the instance rendering path and the non-instance rendering path. Because that could just be very simple. Like if else. So I'll put the non-rock stuff here. And then we can instance render everything that's like multiple, like the ducks. But I don't think instance rendering 2 models will be that useful. So we want the other thing actually. Entities. What's the other one? The debug data. And then the model. Oh, I'm being dumb. We actually just want the entity. Model index is equal to Which one does what? Do I have access to it? Rock index? Model. Rock. No. Alright, let me just go into the scene and grab out the data that I actually care about. Let's bring this back to 4444 so we can actually test at the same. Okay, so it's in scene. Okay, so we just get the scene dot rock, which is 0. Okay. Scene dot rock. Okay, so for now, I'll just duplicate this for loop, and then we can just take out the draw call for a minute. So, hang on. No, I'm doing this in the wrong place. Give me a minute. So it's not here. I want to. How do I do this actually? Let me think. If I want to instance draw things and I don't want to instance draw on other things because it's kind of a waste of time, I could just set the I mean, I could literally just see what happens. It's, Okay, so from the looks of things, we absolutely need to do that still. The next thing we need to do is okay, so group them into buckets by descriptors. I mean mesh. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, like by mesh. That's what I'm trying to do, yeah. And never mind, I see what you're doing, yeah. You can just do the rock specifically for now and see if it helps. Yeah, that's exactly the idea, but I think I might do everything. If I can just basically say there's X number of rocks and X number of ducks, then I can just basically say that that's the number of instances and the size is this. The problem is I don't actually know when the first instance begins. No, I do. It's at 2. So if I just do 2 and there's a total of give me a minute. Okay, I need to update the loop anyway. It's we're getting the same song over and over again. And my mouse double clicked. Apologies. Let's get this. Oh, should put this on at least. And go to the next song. Okay. Okay, so total number of instances. So for the rock, we actually know what this is. So the rock is 0. So scene 0. Right. This loop is always 1. So we don't have to worry about this for a minute. I'm just going to do the rocks for now. So the rocks. So this is always 1. We get the mesh thingy out. So we're not going to render the ducks for a minute. I'm going to skip them. And then all I want to know is total entities minus 2. Because there's 2 ducks. And I kind of just want to see how that works. if we are always drawing the rocks, we do this, whatever. Yeah, this might just blow up, but if my interface is correct, that might work. So we started to... No. We started to... And that's the total, yeah. Hello, Himena, how you doing? Hope you're having a great day. Yeah, I'm gonna... Once I've done this, I will definitely basically build up another data structure to wrap up the meshes. So what we're doing today, Emo, if you're curious, I'm just trying to speed up the frame rate. So let's just see this crash and burn and see what I got wrong. Okay, so nothing rendered. So yeah, ignore the spheres. They're actually not part of that loop. So the duck shouldn't have rendered, but something should have rendered. The other thing we're not doing is... No, we only need to do this once if it's an instance. This is the vertex buffer of that particular thing. It's not really a vertex buffer, but we do the push constants. The index buffer, descriptor set. Alright, so let's just see the documentation for this. I definitely don't use AI. Yeah. But I hope you're having a great day, dude. I don't think I've ever used AI in my code. Okay, so just finished my tool that connects my engine to WPF. Took a while. Sure. I'm just gonna. If someone thinks I'm doing AI and I'm not, then I can't change their mind. It is what it is. People have strong opinions about strange things. Anyway. First instance, let's look into this. Is the number of the vertex draw? I just out of curiosity, why do you think I'm using AI? Oh, I see. That's it. Yeah, real coders use OpenGL. Oh, because the Vulkan? No. Real coders do... Well, in non-AI coders use Vulkan. Anyway, let's... Instance count, number of instance draws. First index is the base. We need to worry about this. I don't think so. These are the vertex and index stuff. Oh, we have to do some shader stuff. I forgot. Yeah. We can't just if we're going to use instance rendering, we can't just set up the draw calls to be different. We've actually got to change the shaders. Yeah, real coders. Yeah, I agree with that, Emo Nan. Yeah, pre-recorded live. Yeah, it's definitely a pre-recorded live stream. Yeah. And I've actually pre-written this code, and I'm just pressing Control Y on it. You know, I'm actually pretending to write the code as well. Right, okay, so what do I want to do in the shaders then? The instance rendering, we have an instance rendering GLSL thing. Yeah. Anyway, GLSL instance ID, because there's some kind of instance ID that I need to, I think, index through. Okay, so GL instance ID is a vertex language imports this of the comment primitive, such as right. I've got to be careful with this because Vulkan sometimes has a different name for some reason. Like it's like, oh yeah, Vulkan uses a different thing for reasons I do not understand. So yeah, exactly. So not when targeting Vulkan, and then only when targeting Vulkan it is instance index. So when we're actually trying to render with this thing, we need to change our shaders. Okay, so how do I do this? So we have the vertex thing. That's paired that's for each instance. Yeah, that's what we need to do. Type in Vulkan optimized, and then we're done. So we have the text codes. We have the view projection global model preferences. Okay, so global model position, model index. Okay, so this is all per. What do I need to do? I need to do something different. When you do something per instance, right? I kind of need a basic exam. I need some like okay, here we go. No, like instance rendering, like 101. I just need that basic. What do I need to instance over? What do I don't need to instance over? Doesn't matter what language it is, OpenGL, whatever. Yeah, so we're trying to get around this. And so what they're doing with the vertex buffer is they're taking the, why is there a fixed size? Seems very strange. How do we know what the size is? Indirect instanced is even better. But yeah, you send the draw calls. Yeah, the GPU deal with them. Yeah, it's oops, no. I will get to indirect. I just haven't set up the frame. I don't have any of the supporting barriers or anything like that to support instance rendering. Sorry, indirect draw calls. So if I just like jump to indirect draw calls, I would have to like write a lot more code, which I'm definitely going to get to. So I think instance rendering is great for now, just to see if it actually improves things. If it does, then I'm going to be like, right, indirect draw calls, instance rendering, indirect draw call counts. We're going to be smashing that. That's what we're going to. That's the direction we're going to go in, because at that point we know we need to do it because we need to reduce the amount of CPU recording that we're doing, and that's why we're getting like absolute terrible performance right now, and we'll grab all that. So, but it's just been such a long time since I've done instance rendering. I don't understand what they're doing here, to be honest. So so we need to offset into the draw, looks like the position thing, which we actually calculate because we're pulling stuff off the shader. We're doing vertex pulling rather than using a vertex buffer. And that's per vertex. I wonder if we need to basically double this up. So this is per index buffer. But it seems like we need to do like another thing on top of this, almost like an index buffer plus instance, because that actually builds up the position, which goes in here. And it looks like we're instance over. I don't know what we instance. Did we instance over everything or just did? Okay, so for my terrible scrolling. Okay, cool. So this has like an arbitrary amount. Yeah, so effectively we want to recreate that. literally. Okay, yes, it has the same. So that's the OpenGL stuff, yes. Okay, what is the instance in? Okay, instance, whoops. What does that do? Oh, okay, bit of documentation, that's cool. So what's the shader doing now? Oh, instance matrix. Instance matrix. Okay, I'm a bit lost now. What are you doing with the matrix? Why did you build up an instance matrix? From Reddit, this is how I also understand it. You just fill the SSBO. Sorry, let me read that again. So Dietrich has said from Reddit, but this is also how I understand it. You just fill a read-only SSBO however you want. And in the vertex shader, you use instance index to access the buffer at the correct location. Right, okay, so there's a bit more to this. Okay, that's not too bad. That makes a bit more sense. Okay, let me think how to do this, because I already kind of do that for the actual vertices, and I'm just trying to think about, okay, so I use buffer device addresses to store the vertex data. So in these declarations, I almost need like a thing like this. I know it's not how it works, but this is per index, this is per index. Sorry, this is per instance, and this is per instance. Yeah, you know what I meant. I said the same thing twice. So you need an the instance is just okay. Instances are just transform models and matrices per entity. But yeah. So that's why there's a matrix. Right, okay. So funny I didn't do instancing like how many years ago? 2019. 7 years ago. Oh my goodness, I'm so rusty. Okay, so we need a... Okay, thanks for that, by the way. That actually does help me decode a lot. Because I was a bit confused what was going on in the OpenGL example. Okay. On a decent graphics... Yeah, okay. Okay, yep. I'm just reading this at the moment. I just want to see what goes in the matrix. And what the matrix should be and all that kind of stuff. And then we can index into it, lovely. Into our vertices based on what you just said with the... We have an SSBO. I want to move away from descriptor sets, so I'm probably going to make this a buffer device address instead of a SSBO specifically. So you determine how many rocks there are while filling a buffer with their matrices, then slap that sucker into the GPU and bind it to your shader. But I think you're getting the idea. Right, okay, so... Right, so they're... Huh. What's in the matrix? Is it position? And rotation and stuff? Because I'm not kidding, I might have already done this. Model. Right, I'm gonna just do something a bit odd. Based on that, I already have a model update position thing. If I just throw in the instances in here, what is it called? It's OpenGL. Because I might have already like simulated instances. This is a bit of a shot. If this works, I don't know what I'll do. But I would say my chances of this just working straight off the bat are extremely slim. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted. So instead of using the push constants, I just do this. Because I already have a buffer device address for all the positions in. And this is per... Right. Oh. Oh, wait. Okay, apart from some of them, that's huge, dude. Holy, we're doing instance rendering already, jeez. That was... Okay, so we have a piece of some corruption from this, but that's massive. You can draw instances. Wow, this is really convenient. I have actually... That's crazy. And look how smooth the frame rate is already. Okay, I'm well happy with that. Holy. That worked so much better than I expected. Here's the thing, right, guys? I know you're thinking, like, how did that immediately work? Well, because the push constants is... in the push constants, I'm pushing up an index. The index is into the transform of positions and rotation of the models already, and that's per entity. So as soon as I read you need to index into the position and translation, that's already there, it already exists, so I just threw that in. So yeah, exactly. I just need to make it work correctly now. That's really sick. Alright, so it changes to 0. I don't exactly know. Right, okay, that makes sense. So it's doing every single model. That's really nice. That's really smooth. Okay, so the next thing to do is do instance rendering for the spheres. Now I will have to obviously exclude stuff that's the docks and stuff. But that has seriously improved the frame rate already. So thank you for that, Dietrich. That suggestion was actually really sick. Yeah, he'll be proud of you. I have to let him know in chat in the Discord how well you were just able to nail it. Alright, so for this one we want the same deal. So total entities is the total number of thingies. And we're doing instance rendering now, so we actually pull this out. This is actually just an if statement now. For now, I'm going to leave that loop there. Oh no, I'm not. What am I doing here? I've got entity position index. So Ah, okay, yeah. So we need to do the same thing with the rock. We need to say this is like a rock thing. So this is debug. Where's this sphere scene? Yeah, making a game, yeah. Just trying to improve the frame rate because it's so bad at the moment. And we're making headway really quickly, so that's cool. So hopefully you're here for it. So scene. Oops. So yeah, we're moving to instance rendering to improve the frame rate because it's really slow. Well, until now, I'm just going to comment this out for a minute because I'm going to use it again. But so instance rendering for all the spheres, and it should be using the same idea. So instead of this index guy, we are going to use GL vertex. So I'm also making a game engine as well. If you're not familiar with what C++ OpenGL, Vulkan game players and stuff like that. The game is like a little space game. Complete chapter 3. Congratulations, yeah. Okay, so this should again improve the frame rate. Okay, so it's not rendering anything. But yeah, that's improved the frame rate. I can already feel it. Oh. Model index. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Hang on. Just that. That's the actual correct thing. No, just that's funny though. So the spheres have gone. No, it's just gonna be like a little arcadey thing. So it's gonna be a bit. It's like a fun little arcadey thing. It's just to what I'm trying to do is design the game engine I'm making around a game, so it restricts the amount of technology that I have to write, and it also gives me some direction. So yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment. That's why I'm making this little arcadey 3D asteroids game. It's not going to be anything major. It's going to be a bit of a laugh to play, and then and then you and then play something else. Okay, so I need to figure out exactly why we're not getting anything rendered in the other instance. So we have for the sphere, we have. So yeah, great questions by the way. Yeah, Joel is nuts how good it is. It's a little quirky to use, but it is very, very good. There's no doubt. So, why aren't you working? Why have we lost everything that we once could see? This is a bit of a strange one because it just worked earlier, and I'm just gonna make sure that I've yeah, we're still early on. What I can do is just show you the early scene, the early test demo scene. So we have stuff moving around, which is very we have rocks. And that's pretty much it. It's literally just going to be like a 3D asteroids type game. I will make a video about it. There will be streams are still very technical, at least for now, 100%. So I will update the. So if you do want to subscribe and come back later or something like that, there will be like videos tracking the progress and making it a little bit less. There'll be a little less technical, a little bit more easy to digest. So yeah. So I mean, you can stick around now. It's work in progress. It's not out at the moment. I mean, obviously you can stick around. I'm just there is no like major updates as of right now. There is nothing like to play or anything. I know people have asked that on the stream before. Okay, so right, that's what I missed. I haven't done this. This needs to be in the loop. So this is updating. That's why we're not seeing anything. So I need to throw this in the loop. This has to be in the loop. Because this is building up a buffer per... This is building up the air quotes SSBO, the buffer shader storage object. That could be down there. There's no reason it has to change. That's why, yeah, we had no matrices to multiply anything by. Nope, it's still... Oops. Whoa. Yeah, it's will I be releasing it on... it's undecided right now. I have... You can't quote me on this, but I'm probably just going to pay the 100... Okay, so this is very much... may not be the actual... This may not actually happen. So I may just pay the $100 entry fee, put it on Steam for free, and just let people play it. But that's not that might not be the plan in the future, because I know people were more likely to play if it's on Steam, because it's, you know, it's, at least it's not malware. The other option, I might put it on itch.io. Okay, so this is the... Why aren't you updating? Total entities. Okay, let's take a step back. I'm gonna kind of go a bit further back. I'm just gonna press Control Z until we get back to where we were, and just kind of take a step back for a minute, yeah, and think about what we're doing here. So when this was at 1, this worked, right? Yeah, releasing a completely free game that's pretty good is a great way to get publicity, even if there's no immediate benefit. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, for me, I don't see this game being, air quotes, worth the amount, like, the game I have in my head, I wouldn't it's either I'm going to charge a very small amount of money, or like none at all. That's what I'm thinking, because I don't want to spend too long on it. This is literally just going to drive the engine, and then I'm going to make another game. So, yeah, so I'm totally fine with it being game for free. And even if Steam takes a bunch of, takes 100 quid, and I have to put up a bunch of bureaucracy or something like that, it at least gives people confidence that they're not going to get a virus. Which, you know, I wouldn't ever do that. That's kind of stupid. But if it's just on some website, you know, it's a bit... people are a bit less likely to download it. Okay, so that's just that's what I've been thinking about anyway. Oh, I've been in release. No, I thought my frame rate was a lot better than it is. It's not that good. Okay, so I've actually accidentally turned off my validation errors and left them off, and I've been in release. So the smoothness is about to disappear, unfortunately. But let's see let's just see the frame. Let's just see the millisecond / frame rate based on being in debug and having like a baseline to return to. If the game is open source, a paid Steam version can act as support. Kind of like, yeah, that's the thing. I'm not exactly sure yet. Imagine it blew up if hundreds of YouTubers started playing with it. The reaction, yeah, it's one of those things. For me, it's like, I know it seems I don't want to get too caught up in my own head about success and like what I know it seems funny to say this. Let's just see the frame rate, but it would be nice, obviously. But if no one plays my game, I'm still going to make it. I'm still going to make the game that I want to make. Okay, that's so much better. Okay, so we're down to 4 milliseconds, which is a huge improvement from 50 milliseconds, whatever it was. 52 the other day. So that is a massive speed up. Huge, huge, huge. Okay. And so I also once I've got the other part working, I'm going to check the graph as well to see if this has gone away or at least shrank. I don't think debug will kill the performance, but it's yeah, it will unfortunately. Do I have any blog posts or something? I do have a Discord server if people want to join. That is where I'll just be updating. I'll just post this in chat. So I don't have a blog post, but I do have a Discord. Not everyone has a Discord, I understand, but there you go. If you do, you can join that and update me. You can be more up to date, I guess. But I also have this officially YouTube channel. Hello, Maddo. How you doing? Hope you're having a great day, my guy. Okay, so the frame rate is back up to... So it's actually 30 FPS with all the debug stuff on. Which is actually huge. Now, okay, let's try and fix the next part. The reason I think it's worse with in debug, by the way, is because there's a lot of optimizations that the compiler is doing to the CPU side of the code that just don't get done. And I've also got like allocation tracing. So yeah, 1.4 gigs. I actually allocate 1 gigabyte of memory up front. So I allocate out of a pool to make sure that I'm not allocating in tight loops. So when I like want to make like 1,000 entities like I have, right, all I'm doing is just pulling out of a pool of memory. So that's why it's like 1.4 gig, and it's also not as bad as it would look like. Everything, all the libraries I'm using are going to eventually use that allocator as well. So there is like reason to that madness. Okay, so instance rendering. Why didn't you work? Right, so I want to put that there. And I want to put that there, right? If there is a debug renderer to render, like this, and I don't think I want that. Let's tab all this in. Okay, so I don't think there's a way to check that, so we'll just remove this for a minute. We'll just say that for now, anyway. So how did I do it up here? So the vertex buffer. Yeah, they're individual draw calls and stuff. And so yeah, it's once I've done this, we'll check the actual end site thing, which is what the whole point of this is, to try and get rid of that end site. Okay, so let me think. What do I want to do here? Entity position. What do I do about the push constants in this for loop? Okay, so that is already in the for loop, so I'm just going to move that in there. Which is fine, that's chill. So the model index is just going to be the sphere for now. Sphere index. Debug. You missed a massive speed up, so that's what we're rolling with at the moment. Okay, so we still want the total number of entities to be 4,400. So entities. Where is the? Is it total entities scene? So I'm just gonna throw this in and just see if I've got it right this time. So I'm just gonna puzzle through this for a minute. Hopefully that's all right, gang. So we have the vertex buffer stuff. We want to keep that per index buffer, and this index thing is almost completely redundant at this point. If we're doing this instance wise, not for everything, no. Let's just make sure there's loot. Yeah, okay, that's right. We want to be inside that. Total entities. Vertex data, yes. So this is actually redundant for what we're doing, but I still want to make sure that we are getting this right. Push constants. Okay, so if I go in the shader, what did I do in here? So because I had more, is this per instance now? So that's the view projection. I mean, I can index through this. I don't think it... Yeah. I think I need to, actually. Ah, okay. That's what I made the mistake in. I didn't do this. I think that will be it. Oh, and this as well, because everything's a... Everything is a thingamajiggy. So let me just rerun that. I need to make this smaller because I missed a bunch of stuff. Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. That's perfect. Cool. Escape. Got instance rendering. Oh, yeah, you're just letting people know. Yeah. Yes, we are reducing the amount of draw calls dramatically. Yeah. No idea. Oh, sorry. Let me read that. So nice performance boost. And who was the troll? Don't worry about it. Just, yeah. I'm sure he's just chilling. Oh yeah, that's it. We've all got to use libraries that don't support Vulkan. I mean, are we really Vulkan programmers until we do that? All right, so let's check the actual. What is it called? So should I try and get the other stuff in? I guess I should, to be honest. Okay, let me just continue on with this for a minute. So what I want to do is render the... Hang on. Let me re-render the scene. I want to see the little tiny green... so I'm going to chase this down. If I can. I want to go inside the rock. Yes. Okay, so I want to see a little yellow sphere. So it is translating the color and the position, which is great. And the size and the scale and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Real coders don't know what they're doing half the time. Yeah, this engine's living on a hope and a prayer, I have to admit. But we're getting there. We're improving every day. So I do want to render the ducks. The problem is now we have a little bit of a problem. Or do we? Okay, let me think. I don't think we do. I think what we need to do is iterate through not the entities, but the total number of what is it called? Model types that we have. Then we can do instance rendering based on the total number of objects. And just keep track as we keep incrementing through. So 2 for the first one, and then 400 and blah blah for the next one. So for each draw type, we need to be iterating through one, the total number of things, and the... So this does look like a map situation, but I want to see if I can use the data structures I already have before I want to make any more. So what I'm saying is we have another for loop for people who are a bit confused. So, and it basically goes uint 32 model index type equals 0, and then we take model index type and we go, okay, there we go, I don't know, scene dot models size, right? Yeah, I think that works. And then model index type plus plus, wrong way around, that's a bad habit. Technically it doesn't matter, but whatever. And then for each model in this array, we have to loop through, assuming it's not the... We have to... Okay, so I've thrown the debug models in here, so I might need to split them up. But effectively, we need to loop through all the models that aren't the debug collision geometry. And then through that, we can index into this, and then we get the model size, etc., blah, blah, blah. So, for as far as I can tell, this might not work for multiple... Okay, I'll come back to that. That's something else we can worry about. So I'm going to turn this down as well. It's a bit loud, this. Getting my ears blasted with Pokemon. So we're going to take that. And do this. So we have an array of models. I'm going to -1 from this because the last one is not what we care about. And then we need to make sure that we track how many models are in this array. So model index type. So then we can actually do this thing properly. Oops. Okay, so have we got rid of the rock thing? Find. Ugh. Where? Sorry, that's me. That's I'm pressing the wrong key. Rock. Okay, cool. We don't want to actually refer to that. So for each model type, we want to loop through. Yeah, Soul Silver's awesome. Oh yeah, no problem. You can go AFK. Yeah. Anyway, your everyone's job in this stream is to kick back and chill, and have fun and so, you know, if you just want to go AFK for a bit, that's totally fine by me. So I'll just read that before you go AFK, I think. I was saying that, like, you should have daily notes or blog kind of thing while creating the game. This game, it would be fun to see in the future. Like the first couple of pages explaining your game. Definitely the Discord's the best place for that, but that's also not a bad idea, actually. I'll consider that. Having like a you know, something to look back on. I mean, the streams have been pretty frequent recently, but I can't say I'm going to do them literally every day. I think they've been a day for nearly. I've been doing this every day for nearly a month, but anyway, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna make videos. My channel does have videos about my development, and I will update them, but they're not daily. They're every couple of months, effectively. Yeah. Well, you're here now, so if I do blow up, then you never know. Become the super famous game developer, and then I'll be too good for everyone in chat. Go away. I'm a famous person now. Anyway, so let's concentrate. Yeah, I'll become an influencer and try and sell you makeup or something. Okay. So what do I want to do here? I want to track how many models are in this array. I don't know how to do that. So of course I know that there's 2 ducks and there's 4,442 rocks. But is there a way to extract that from the data that we have at the moment? Because they're just added to an... Do we know how? Do we know what type of entity is what based on the index into an array? So do we know how many rocks we have, basically? Because that would be really cool if we could just add a value to a index, offset the values here, and then we have index rendering for arbitrary amount of entities. Count them. Unfortunately, this will be 1, and this will be 1 as well. This will go through 1, 2. So this is the total number of model types we have. It doesn't tell me how many entities use that model type, if that makes sense. It just tells me that, oh yeah, there's two of these to use, that the entities will use. Let me look at the scene, actually, I'll be a bit more helpful. I'm just trying to puzzle out if I can figure out a way to grab. So we have... We build this. So when we go into this, we build a thing. We have... Okay, so we don't really need this anymore. What tells us what? I mean, we could literally just say the... the model index. That's how we know. The model index is different depending on... So if I pull out an entity that's got... that doesn't tell us how many, that just tells us what the entity is currently on. I mean, I could just increment, like, total number of rocks or something. Yeah, hash map is definitely something I might end up using in a minute. I'm just trying to see if I can puzzle through a way of doing it without even adding anything. Like I figured out how to loop through all the models, but I don't know how many models we have to render. Because what I was doing before, I was looping through all the entities and I was just switching between what model we wanted based on an index value. But that doesn't... if we're looping through all the entities again, we end up just back where we started. Okay. Entities, color, position, model. So that's if it has any position. Sorry, that has any physics. This is the stuff we care about. So effectively we need I think we need another array. And the key will be what model index we're on. I think we can pull that out. We don't actually need to store the key and value pair. We can just say that the model index into the array itself is the actual key. So if we have a rock index at 0, then the value is incremented by 1 if we have a model index of 0. Each time we create a rock. Okay, so that's what I'm going to try. And that will that'll keep the data structures as simple as possible. What do I need here? I need a... No, I've just described a map. Give me a second. So this is the key, and this is the value. So I just literally need a inside model. So inside here, I think I want total number of sane models, if that makes sense. Yeah. So is model. Yeah, I think I don't use that as well. So an array of uint32s. I doubt we're going to have anything bigger than that. And this is just going to be total model type or something. Count of model type. I'm going to have to write comment here because it's going to be a bit confusing. This array is... No, even better, even better, even better. We already have the array. We can literally just have a number. They're just increments. Okay, this is way simpler. Sorry, that was a bit silly. We're already in an array. This value... Oops, come on, type the right words. Value has the same number of... sorry, this value tracks how many of the same model we have. This is to support instance rendering. Okay, so that's what we're going to do is basically store. So every time we like make a model index, so let's just go back into the scene. So we have the models. Where's the models at? Okay, doesn't matter too much. Models. So at entity index, whatever that is. Yep. Okay. So at model index, we take the current value and we increment by 1. Yeah, that's it. That's basically it. Increment by 1. What? Oh, I've got the wrong thing. This is not what I wanted. It's the wrong value. Type, what did I call it? That was it. Okay, plus plus. So every time we access this model index at this particular type, we increment by 1, and then we actually have the values that we need to deal with later on. Cool. You need to tag your variables with a map. I think I've managed to get around it. Yeah, I'm trying to be as data oriented as possible. So everything's already like vaguely data oriented design. There are obviously like massive holes in that, in the sense that, you know, things like that. So let me catch up with people. So like when I hear some YouTubers making videos of Rockstar Games leaked code about how the game had some features they didn't put in the game due to limitations. Oh, okay, yeah. Makes me think how would the game be if it turned out different? Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of my videos are like how I did a thing. That's basically what I'm trying to do in all my videos. I try to explain from the ground up, assuming that no one knows how to code, like, and assuming you're interested. That I've got to assume that 1, people are interested, and 2, people don't know much. And I try to explain bit by bit what I do, what I've done. Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah. Well, if you compare from 2000 from now, it's definitely changed. Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, totally. Right. Okay. So let's dig into this. See if we could use this value to do something. So we now, based on the model index type, we just want to index into that and then basically use that for the indices. So seed models based on based on the model index type, current type. So that will be the instance count, and the first instance will be do we actually, is this always 0? I think it is actually. It's just like for the ducks we do this, for the that'd be 2, and for the rocks we just do 4,422 or something. We'll see how that goes. If not, then I don't know if like the indices is like a whole big array or whatever. No. Okay, that didn't quite work. But yeah, we didn't break it at least, so that's good. So let's just see if we actually loop through everything. How many times did we get into this loop? So we have a size of hopefully 3. Yeah, that's what we wanted. Oh, I actually need to debug the first one. Just press F5. So that means I kind of did the loop again. So anyway, so there's one draw call. We have they're the materials, and this value is what? Do I get to see? No, I'm just going to pull this out so I can actually see the value. Unit day 2 temp. That's just so I can read it. So make sure that it's one that's making sense. I could be accidentally drawing the same model again. That's entirely possible. Alright, so So this should be interesting. So that's the rocks. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's what I wanted. And this should be 1. And the value is what? 2, that's correct. But it's drawing what? 1. Why is it drawing the duck again? Not the duck again? Do you need to decrement it when you delete? Sorry, do you need to decrement when you delete? I'm not planning on deleting anything out of this loop. I just want to make sure that I'm trying to draw the correct model. So when I actually do this, so this is correct, but I don't know why the model index is not coming out with a duck model instead. This should be. Let's test my theory, right? I'm saying it should be, and I'm not actually checking. So if I do duck index, which is 1, we should just all be ducks now, as far as I can tell. If it's all rocks, then I know why it's not. Then there's like at least something that makes sense. Interesting, it's not rendered anything. Okay, the ducks inside here. Ooh. Oh, actually, I just turn off them. Oh. Okay, so it did render a duck. Interesting. It only rendered that. So it didn't render. Interesting. I want to change this back to model index, which is definitely looping through all the models that exist, which are just indices that loop into an array. We just get rocks. Yeah. Weird. I wonder if this... Okay. I'm not entirely sure if the first index needs to be different, but I'm just going to do some hacky quick. Okay, so if if model index type is not equal to 0, so it's anything other than 0. Actually, I should just do greater than 0. Then we do a this here -1. Obviously, if I did it as 0, we'd be at -1 in the index, which, you know, pointer arithmetic at -1. So this is just a very, very quick hack. I just want to see if we have to index further through the indices. So, you know, I mean, I don't know where we are in the loop. Nope, I didn't do anything. Now, if I turn this off, is there any ducks anywhere? Let's see here. Okay, man, I'll be going. Subscribed. Oh, thank you very much. To get updates about the game. Hope it blew up. I hope it blows up. Sorry, I hope it blew up so you remember that some, I would say, guy in the live comments was trying to predict something. You know what? I very much appreciate that. Thank you very much. No, I remember. Someone even, you know, anyone who tells me to remember something like that, I always do remember. Like, there was a guy in the YouTube comments that said, "Remember me, I'm your 72nd subscriber." I still remember that. You know, there's a bunch of things like that I always remember. Like, someone played my Minecraft clone and made a Minecraft house in my Minecraft game. That was in 2018, 19, something like that. That's on. If you want to know more about that, there's a little video, tiny little video on YouTube. So I will remember that. Thank you. Thank you, Can Kiss, Canny. Anyway, so yes, yeah, and that goes for all of you, by the way. I do remember all of you and what you're saying. But I do make specific attempts to remember stuff when someone tells me to remember something. Anyway, right. So when this is model index, I just don't understand exactly why. Do you reset count of model type each frame for each type? Yes. Well, I think I do. Right. I'll just show you. I think unless you see something that's crazy. So the rocks are on one. They're all rendered at one go. There's 4,402 of them. And that's at index 0. When I'm at index 1, there's now 2 of them, which is correct. There's 2 ducks. But it still renders rocks for some reason, as if it's still at index 0, which is the confusing part. Because this should be, all this should be, if I go in this struct here, this should have all the, you know, transform, model transforms, samplers, the final matrix based on the node hierarchy in the GLTF model, etc., all that kind of stuff. Like, it all should be there, but it's for some reason not. Is the new mesh bound? Ooh, that might be it. I might be not binding something. You might be right. I might have missed something. Let's dig through. Okay, so we have... Let me also check the shaders. Are we using the model index when we need to? Yeah, so these are UBOs, these datas, and this is a model. Yeah, so this is the instance, and this comes from the index buffer. I was just making sure there was no like model index equals 0 or something in the instancing. Okay, so let's go back. These are now decoupled. I think that's fine, because that's the actual array we're indexing into with the instance array variable inside the shader. So that's actually just the position and the color. We don't actually use the color, but the next thing is to figure out, are we binding the right thing? What I don't understand is before when I set this to 1, we didn't render. We rendered 2 ducks, but we didn't render anything else, which is weird. That's the confusing part. I'm gonna put this as 1 again. Sorry, just to. I know I did this before, but. I just want to see. It's 1 minus 1 right there. I wonder if the computer can work that out. Okay, breakpoints. Okay, so there's a duck in. There's definitely a duck there. If I turn off this, there's nothing apart from a duck spinning around. So that's confusing to me. It's just, it's like when we've instant rendered, we don't get the ducks the first time, but we get the ducks the second time. But you might be right that there might be something I'm missing, but I don't think so. But let's just look at the code anyway. Like further up and further down. It's always small things that I see get stuck on. After you've made like a massive performance boost. You're like, I'm done. No, I'm not. So yeah, I'm a bit lost as well. It's a bit confusing. So we have 4,442 rocks to render. But we should be rendering more. Sorry, we should be rendering 2 ducks, but they become out as rocks as well. And this for loop should be being able to keep track of how many instances of the things that we want to render. This variable via this for loop, this outer for loop. But no luck so far. We also have to offset this based on the draw calls as well, which is I'll come back to that though. That's like a different problem to solve. So we should be seeing everything be ducks as if we're on 1, but I don't know. It's not like I said the 2 entities should be ducks exclusively. The only thing that's making them ducks is the actual index. Oh, hang on. Hang on. I just said index. And we do store the index in the entities. Yeah, the reason this is a bit confusing is because we have arrays that store different things into other arrays. So it's not like people who are listening are being like, this sounds, you know, should I understand this? You know, not necessarily. It is a bit fiddly. It's not like super complicated in that sense, but it is fiddly. But yeah, if you do want to follow along and I'm not being clear, just ask a question and I'll try and answer it to my best abilities. But yeah, I'm trying to use indices to indirectly. Basically, the map between two different arrays, I've kind of split them up, and there's like an array that indexes into arrays, simulating a map. There's a reason I won't go into it, but there is a data-oriented design reason that you'd want to do that over using maps. Which is a coding style I'm trying to follow. That's why my code looks like C. C++. There's no advanced C++ in this. In theory, it's a bit convoluted, the code, but everyone who is like vaguely familiar with C++ should be able to follow the code on GitHub if you know some C++. The last thing I want to do is make a C++ project that's crazily complicated that no one can understand, because it requires knowledge from the latest standard that's like super up to date. But anyway, sorry, just delete that, but I'll read what you just said. D-Tree has said the if model condition you added, I think you always want to pass the scene model index type as the last argument. The last argument, is the last argument, okay. That's the first instance. Okay, yeah, I'll throw it. I'll try it. I'll try it. I don't know what the first instance means, if that makes sense, so we'll throw that in and we'll see what it comes out as. Do we have the ducks though? That's the question. I know it's all gone wrong, but is the docs here? No, I don't think it's indexed into it. Let's turn that off. Ah, we jump into light speed. So for those who don't know, what this means is you've got a matrix, something's gone wrong in the matrix calculation. It's like destroyed a model. No. Okay. But I think you might be right. Hang on, let me oops, I'm deleting things. I didn't mean to do that. Let me go back and add that in here instead. Like that. Yeah, I was thinking the first instance, but I don't know, let's try it. No, I don't see it, sadly. I think we've just... That's why I thought it was 0 every single time, but let's look at the... Because it does feel like the previous index needs to be like this. Assuming that we've got... I don't know how this index thing works. Is it dependent on the other? No. If I put this at 2. Nope. So these moving things should be ducks. I'm demoing things based on a model that looks different. So that's just for people who may have tuned in. Just briefly. Okay. So it does feel like that's the first index, but all right. I'm kind of. I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it. Oops, I keep pressing Control D, duplicate. I'm gonna. I want to see the frame rate now. We'll come back to this in a minute. I'm kind of curious. Let's take a break from that for a minute. Let's see. And so let's open up Insight and see how we're doing. Because we're pretty close. Oops, I need to be. Yeah, I'm in release. Okay, so the first instance would be where the instance lives in the transform buffer, I think. If you stick to having one... oh, I see. Okay. Right, so let's have a look how bad / how good this is. So just for reference, that is how bad we were before. This is like this is like what we're trying to compare. Hopefully we've reduced the amount of overhead. And oh, that's not good. Release. Excuse me. 1. Why is it? Oh, did I compile for debug? No, compile for release. I don't know why this. Right, let's do that again. Okay, there's lots here. Love when it hits the thing. And I'm in release. I've gone to release. Huh? Why is there only one object? Ah, I think I know. Give me a second. Right, I'm just gonna oops, wrong thing. I think the duck's inside the rock. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Okay, that's gonna go on forever. Yep, okay, that makes sense. We're rendering both. That's why we can't see the duck. The duck is always there. It's always just inside the rock. So that tells me that the indexing is not right. So what we tried to do, I don't think works. Yeah. That's why, yeah, as soon as I saw that error, I think the indexing... Oh, I know why. Okay, so the reason that's not working... Okay. Okay, so it's less bad than we thought. I forgot about this. This is something I need to fix, really. The shaders haven't been updated. So this is like a really... So let's just grab these. So we've... It updates these shaders, the CMake script that I have, but it doesn't update these shaders because it doesn't know which one you're going to be using. I really should just add the extra copy, I think. Okay, so... That should be good. Yep. Okay, so we're going to put up with the duck being inside here now. And we're just going to measure the performance. And let's have a go. Start activity. Trace GPU. F11. If anything, that traced faster. So. Ooh, okay, okay. That's good. Yeah, sneaky duck indeed. Oh, my noise cancelling just turned off. Yeah, it's yeah, I apologise for the little bit of background noise. It's hopefully not too bad. It's just, if you don't know, I'm in the kitchen. That's where my computer lives, so things get a bit noisy when kitchen activities begin. My setup is very scuffed. My battle station would be laughed at if if you saw it. Okay, so that's really good. That's an improvement. If we look at the original, we've basically... Oops. We still have a lot of badness, but the amount of improvement that we've made is really high. No, which one is it? Okay, so that's the one we're on. That's the official one with nothing disabled. And then we have that. So we have gained back tons of... Probably about... we have a lot more things. So that's really good. So let's work on not rendering those rocks. Doesn't bother you. No, yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, stuff. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not a disembodied internet voice. Things have to happen. It doesn't bother me either. I'm just, you know, if it did bother someone, I would apologize for that. So yes, we are still listening. I'm not a fan of this song, so I'm just going to move on. Well, it's not like it's a terrible song. It's in the playlist, but... Okay, so we're back with debug. Right. Right, let's think how to not render these. I wonder, I'm kind of curious, if it's the other way around for the first instances. If that makes sense. So instead of being like 0, it's 0 for the second instance, for the last one. So we need to like minus off a list or something. So if I put this for 2, do we see the duck? Even though that's going to cut off stuff. Yep. That was it. So obviously we're not going to see the ducks, but that tells me that we've actually culled the right piece of geometry. And we've got to kind of work backwards. So the first instance is the model minus the current minus... Is it the next one or the last one? I think we have to go backwards. So it's not model count, it's... How do I do this? So basically I know, size minus 1 minus size, I think. Sorry, minus the index. Model index type. I think that's what we want. And we don't want this if the index is 0. I'll try and make this less hacky in a minute. But I think that's what we need to do. We just need to go backwards from. So if I is the last element, how do we know if it's the last element? We only know that if the size is -1, the size like this, else. So that is the last element, and the last element we want it to be 0. The reason I've got to be careful is because we're using negatives in a subscript operator for an array, and you can very easily get -1 if you're not careful. So If we put that here and then we put this as simply 0. So that's the last element in the array. Oh, wrong way around. Yep, so the last element in the array needs to be 0. And then for the... yeah, okay. That should hopefully not have any hiccups now. In fact, I'm just going to debug this and just pull this out for a minute and just make a very temporal variable and then just use uint 32 temp equals this. And we're just going to have a look. Right, so throw this in here. So we should have... why are you 0? Shouldn't you be 2? Oh. Derp. This needs to be -2. Yeah, sorry. It's a bit hacky this because I need to pull out debug meshes from regular meshes. So we've kind of got an extra mesh that we need to ignore to do this. So... and in that, hang on, let me think about this. This is a bit awkward. No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, everything's fine. I think. Oh no, that didn't work. We probably have got junk. Oh no, or just a rock. A -1 then maybe. I'll put this -1. Oh, I'm an idiot. I changed this -2 and changed that to -2. Okay, so what is this then? Yeah, sorry. Let me do that again. I might actually... no, I don't want to make this a variable. This is a bit crowded. Right, basically that. And... no, sorry. I'm being stupid. The whole reason we have this if statement here is to stop that happening. And I just kind of indexed. Okay, let's try this again. And let's go slow. Okay, so... scene... this is... one? Okay, I'm a bit confused. Let me... I've got my Boolean algebra all mixed up, obviously. So yeah, just let me debug this bit by bit. Okay, great. What's the value then? 2. Yes. That's what we wanted. So that should do an index draw based on everything. We're back in here. Okay. Bit scared now. Yes. Interesting. Okay, we'll see how that goes and see what that looks like. God dang it. Is there a duck in here now? Could you stop moving? You should stop moving in a minute. No. So we've at least achieved... we've like basically achieved the opposite of what we want. Let's try this again. That was correct. I did want it 2 and then 400 and... right? Right, I'm just going to ignore this temp variable. We're just going to go back to... So index type is 0. Maybe. This is a bit confused. Yeah, that's right. Okay. We don't render the duck because we haven't done it properly. So for here, I want this to be 2, which I think I do get to be 2. As far as I can tell. Two, yes. Oh, I've done it again. Oh my goodness. Throw temp in there at least. So I keep making the same mistake. Alright, so this is 2, that's correct. This is 400 and thingy, that's correct. This is 2, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Do we see a duck? No. Yeah, and I think we've got some issues. It's actually, I think I just caught something. See this? Yeah, I know. That's not a good sign. Yeah, render doc, of course. Thanks for reminding me. I always forget about render doc. Yeah, that's a really good point. Let's, because it'll be a lot easier to check actually render doc, won't it? Consider we're doing indexed instancing now. I'll just puzzle through this for a bit longer. And yeah, so this needs to be 2. Just a bit longer. Is the rock rendered again? Is the duck rendered? Okay, so the duck and rock just keep rendering together. Alright, this instance doing 2 instance renderings is a bit tricky. Are you transforming? I'll check render doc in a sec. I will. Are you transforming contiguous model types in the buffer? Therein, this will never work if not. Am I? Are you transforming? Yes, I am. So I'm using a buffer device address, which is effectively, it's very similar to a shader storage buffer object. In the sense that every single transform has its, like a shader storage buffer object type access pattern. There's the, okay, this is the debug one. Let's go back. Let's not use that one. So there's the position for each array index. So every single model shares this in it. And yeah, it's a bit baffling. So first instance is asking where in the data it begins. So if your rock is mixed with duck data, that's bad. Yes, it is. That everything's mixed together. Can't you index into that buffer though and just say it starts here? Or is it the other way around? Sorry, I know I'm a bit all over the place with this, but I'm wondering... Am I doing this backwards? Instead of where it starts, how about we just like add a variable that kind of increments this? I'm going to try that just to see. I mean, it may be completely wrong, but let's put this in U832 instance test. So what I'm going to do is just get rid of this for a minute. And all I'm going to do is just add this together, and then just use that added version. S plus equals that, and then just to see what it does. No. Yeah, it's still in there. And then... okay, we'll definitely look at render doc after this. Just a little bit. Okay, maybe not with that. Starts at 0. And then... okay, so I'll do it with this one. This is the one I want to do it. Okay, maybe not. Okay, put this as 0. Okay, you give it an instance amount and start point, so everything after that has to refer to the same mesh type. Really? It has to... oh, really? Okay, that's a bit more awkward. So that means the buffer device address is going to have to be different for each model type. Because I want a shader that can do buffer, that can instance render over every single type of model that has different numbers of things in. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying. I don't tree. Let's okay, let's just get like a sane version of this scene, and then we'll throw it into render doc. Obviously disabling everything and throwing it into release. So yeah, that looks normal. And we'll just see what it's doing, like how it's accessing data and stuff. And for those who don't know, I keep forgetting about this tool, but it's a tool that allows you to debug what the shader is doing. And what it does is it sticks in between the graphics driver and your application and just intercepts the draw calls and tells you what's happening. It's a cool little application if you're into graphics programming. Definitely recommend it. I keep forgetting it exists for some reason. I'm not entirely sure if RenderDoc needs to be run in admin mode, but yeah, so I'll do it anyway. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And just let's compile for release, that would help. If you have a range of length 3, a start of 0, and your positions are rock position, duck position, rock position, duck position, but your index buffer is completely bound for the rock, that's bad. Ah, interesting. Let's check my index buffer then. No, it's gonna grab the index buffer that comes from whatever model index we're on, which should be 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1 for each model type. So this gets, yeah, that's the index buffer. Sorry, the index buffer lives in this structure and then gets pulled out. But yeah, you're not wrong. That would be bad if I had a. Okay, so let's boot up render dock. Okay, first things first, just run. Yep. Okay. Capture launch application. I think I just do this, right? No. Or this. There we go. Capture frame. Close the thing. Ah, look at that. The final image is correct because I'm not doing some crazy swap chain illegalness. Holy, look how many we've got. That used to be thousands before. So what are we doing then? We got an index draw. We got an index. What's this index draw? We have this. So that's the clear. That's the failed skybox. That's that. So let's look. What's in here? So instance count is this. I swear we're so close to getting this done. Because all I need to do is not render the first 2 elements in this array for the rocks, and then I know. Sorry, I'm harping on this so much, but like if I get rid of this for loop, right? I'm gonna get rid of this for loop and just simplify everything, and then we're gonna try because we are so close. That's why I'm like, right, get rid of this as well. And we're just going to do 0. So this is for the rocks only. Then obviously we're going to do this. And then we're going to go 1, 1, and 1. But instead of starting from there, I think we go to 0. So we're just gonna do it like this, so we can actually separate them off, because I think the for loop's getting us confused. Yep. Okay, that worked. Whoa. Okay. Okay, let's go back to debug for a minute, so I can actually see the camera speed. Yeah, we've got it. We've almost got it right. We just need to do exactly what's happening here in the for loop. So let's but I can't see anything because the camera moving is designed around the really slowest implementation of what we had before, so we are very close to getting this right. Just got to turn on everything again so I make sure I'm not causing a validation error by what I've just done, which is very possible. It's very possible. So okay, we're getting there. So there's the duck, right? It's not rendered the rock on top. So to recreate this, Where's our main? We need 2 here for the first one. Which means we would want this size, I think. No. Count of current index. That would be 2. Okay, do we get ducks again? Yes. Okay, so now we just got to make sure when we do a loop through this, we end up with, delete this, we end up with stuff that makes sense. Now this needs to be 0 when we are at 1. So if we are at the last element, so we're going to else this for a minute because this is correct. Because we're very close. See, I knew this was just like get the index correct. So if we are in a position where we're on 1, which means, I swear this means this. That's the second to last element in this array. We're ignoring the last, the actual last thing. That's in my... Yeah. So this should be triggered on the the 1 element. Then we want to go I and then I plus 1. So we don't exceed the last thing, and then here we go 0 if we're on the last element. And oh, not I. My bad. And this needs to be deleted, and okay, so that's probably it. Well, if it is, we'll see. It's been wrong every other time, so. Oh, for goodness sake. We're so close! Okay, let's try this again. With 0 and 1. Are we going insane? Does this work? No. That's because of what? This? Are we hitting this? No, I'm doing this logic wrong. So if this is equal to 1, that's what I needed to. Oh, I'm such an idiot. -2 equals. If this is equals, because that actually means it's the last element. Oh my goodness, that's got to be it, right? Hopefully we can be free of this. Hopefully we can be free. I mean, I'm having fun. No, it is +1. Sorry, I'm kind of exaggerating here. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, and the index is 1. This is just should be 2. Okay, so at least we're on the last element. Oh. We're so close. Yeah, I mean, at least we figured out the performance for sure, for sure. I mean, I'm still not happy with it, but that is a drastic improvement from here to there. I mean, how much. Oh, and that's even with rendered. Hang on, that's not my right thing. That's what it should be. So we were this. I wonder if I can do this and go to this one. No. All right, I'm just gonna take a screenshot and kind of so we can compare. So we have more than doubled the performance. Yeah. Yeah, we've like maybe close to 2.5 faster now because we did instance rendering. So that's like a huge gain. And I'm just getting tripped up by how for loops work. Oh my goodness, do you see what I'm doing wrong? This is never going to work. I forgot that at the top. Yay! Do we see ducks? We see ducks! Okay, I just missed something at the top, that's all. We did it. Yeah, whoops. It was never going to work, so... Okay, we actually have a way to index into multiple things. Let's go. Let's fucking go, indeed. Whoa! Right, so we've 2.5 performance. We can now index into multiple instance drawn things, which is fantastic. So I can draw thousands of more ducks and everything will be happy because it'll be instance drawn, which is a fantastic thing because that's going to help with the actual game I want to make as well. So that's also fantastic. We're instance drawing all the collision geometry. We do need to do the same thing here, but that's going to be trivial after we figured out this. So actually, I'm just going to grab that. So this is going to be a super pointless loop for right now, but all I'm going to do is just do a plus. This is equal to 1, 2. No, it's equal to 2, and then this is 3. And then instead of this, we should be pretty much exactly the same. Oh, no, that needs to be moved out. That's bad. So let me just do the same idea here. Grab this. It's going to take me no time at all to make. Last element. So -1, which it shouldn't hit this at all ever. So this is I'm going to make a second. I'm going to split up the debug and the debug geometry and the actual regular geometry, so this for loop actually doesn't have this ugly +2 type thing happening. So it shouldn't hit this. This breakpoint is just to make sure I'm not messing things up. And we need to get rid of this, because otherwise that won't work. And that should be it for the spheres, after we've worked out that bit. Oh, that's true, yeah, I've 10x'd. Yeah. So yeah, 50 ml to 5 ml, ms ml. Exactly. Do we even loop through this? This might need to be 1. I don't know if I forgot how many loops work. I rarely ever set this to value, so I'm not sure if it adds. It doesn't add immediately, does it? Yeah, no, that's not right. There should be 2. I want this to be 2. This should index fine into an array. I just don't think it's doing an index draw. -1 equals this. Oh, it is. Okay. Oh, hang on. When I create this geometry, I'm using the... Okay, this is a little bit more complicated because the geometry is a bit different. So I'm just going to throw this in a to-do state right now. And just say this needs to be fixed because I haven't actually built the data structures yet. So I'm trying to do stuff that's not really possible yet. So let's throw this in here and just say total entities for a minute. Comment this out. And I'll say to do. Yeah, let's look at the performance again. I'm kind of excited. To do improved add the data structures needed to allow for this, and this was originally entities. Is it C in entities? Yep. I think. If not, we can just press yeah, so let's actually see the performance for real. Okay, fantastic. So I've been measuring performance by going into release, disabling this, and this, and which you see me do a couple of times this stream, and you probably will continue to see me do this. Okay, so let's actually measure performance with this tool. It's a cheap and fast way to just get the rendering. I know you can calculate it, but I don't have a way of displaying text outside of IMGUI, so so this technically makes things slower, which I don't mind about. Okay, where is our game? Oh, there it is. So yeah, we are in, and I've been measuring performance by turning off the geometry, so that's more like it. So we have 100x'd our performance. Based on that alone, 100x, bro, 100x faster. Obviously, the frame rate's all over the place. I'm looking at this for people who don't know. So yeah, we started at 50 milliseconds, and now we're at 0.5 milliseconds. So that is good. That is good. Success. Yeah. So because the scene's so simple, this is normal frame rate, and the frame rate's going to fluctuate like crazy because the frame rate is like if I do this, for example, it gets like the drop is pretty dramatic, but how many milliseconds it's going to draw is negligible, right? That's why we don't use frame rates in graphics, because at this point the frames are all over the place. So now we're at like 2000, and we're only rendering at like 0.1 milliseconds faster than before. So that's just for people who are new and don't know. Yeah, GPU hates micromanaging. They'd rather handle a stack of papers all at once, 100%. And also because I'm streaming this tool, this is basically OBS. This is slowing things down, so this is technically not as fast as it should, air quotes, should be. So yeah, awesome stream, guys. We made a ton of success. Thank you, Dietrich, honestly, MVP of this stream. Very much appreciate that. And anyone else who's commented and helped has been fantastic. I'm going to quickly throw in a Discord invite for everyone. Oh, I can't do that on here. Streamer mode is activated. Which I don't really know. I feel like it's completely useless. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. So yeah, if you want to join our Discord server, you can click on that link, and anyone's welcome, as long as you're chill. I'm going to call it here, though. I thank you for anyone who's liked and subscribed and commented as well. A big, hearts for everyone in chat, literally. W's for anyone who's just tuned in throughout the stream. And I'll leave you there to have a good rest of the day. Yeah, have a good rest of the day, guys. I will hopefully see you soon. So yeah. Hopefully we do more performance. Who knows? Next time. So yeah, see you guys.